Hello everybody, my name is Doug Patterson, and today I'm going to present evidence of 10 of 20 warrants I have collected from Madison County, Florida that were executed by the two law enforcement agencies of Madison County Sheriff's Office and Madison Police Department. That these warrants have been executed, but yet they're not issued by a judge. These warrants are fake, they're forgeries, they're fraud, and as a group, any one or more crimes are related by an enterprise that does legit and illegal activities is racketeering, organized crime. So the two law enforcement agencies are conducting organized crime activities in this county. And we'll get into longer. Like I filed with FDLE and they refused to investigate my complaints. I filed one with Executive Investigations, and I filed one with the Internal Affairs, which is Inspector General, and they have refused to. I got correspondence from them how they refused to investigate that because what they're doing, Florida law enforcement, there's a statute 1112.533 that states upon receiving a complaint, law enforcement must investigate the complaint and file a report in 45 days for public records request. Well, they think just because if they don't investigate a crime, they don't have to enforce the laws because then they can't say they were aware that crime occurred. But by doing this, they are violating the statute, which is a crime as well. So there's multiple issues, and we'll get into the individual issues later in my later videos. But we're going to deal with the warrants right now. I'm going to go over a couple, just like 2 or 3 statutes and a couple court rules and 2 case laws, and we'll get into the warrants. But real quick, real painless. This is Florida Statute 90102, issuance of an arrest warrant. This lays out the criteria of what must be on an arrest warrant to make it facially regular or facially valid. Without all the criteria on these arrest warrants, it's not considered to be issued. If you get to 1, it says a judge must examine evidence from an affiant, which is usually an officer or a state attorney. They file a document in which in Madison County is called request for capices, because Madison County doesn't issue arrest warrants. They issue capices, which is a Latin word for arrest warrant. So they file a document called request for capices, which provides a statement to the judge that a crime has occurred, and then whatever evidence the officer or the state attorney has, he presents it to the judge to make a probable cause determination if a crime occurred, and if this defendant is the person that committed these crimes. So that's why he's got to review the evidence. 3A says that a judge must sign the arrest warrant. Now this signature could be electronic, like a stamp, or it can be his regular signature. 3A says an affiant must sign it. The affiant is generally the officer or the state attorney, whoever files the request for the warrant to be issued by a judge to court. And it's usually a document called request for a warrant or request for capices. In Madison County, it's called request for capices. 3A or 3B gets into why the affiant signs the arrest warrant. He signs the arrest warrant because when he presents evidence to a judge that a crime occurred, he's got to take an oath. The oath states that the evidence he's presenting to the judge, to his knowledge, is true. There's no fraud. There's no malicious intent involved in this. And that's why the affiant must sign an arrest warrant to provide proof that he took this oath. The law is really straightforward. You don't need a secret lawyer to tell you to navigate it through you. It's really overwhelming when you first look at it, but if you go by step and you can read black and white English, it's usually pretty good. Now they hide some meanings of words and stuff through Latin, but that just takes a quick 5 minutes of a Latin dictionary to figure out what those words mean. And it's like the lawyers these days is the modern priesthood, just like the Vatican. Like you cannot, they think they want you to believe that you cannot go to court and have your rights protected unless you go through them. Just like the priesthood was, and it still is to this day, in the Roman Catholic Church, you cannot talk to God unless you go through them. See, that's how they control things. If they are the only type of people that you must go to, then they control the money. They control what goes on in these cases. There's a lot of shadiness going on, and it has to do with the control of the lawyers. How they just, it's a racket, and it's really sad because we have the best country in the world. Our legal system is the best in the world. Our laws are the best in the world. 90% of the laws are what the government can't do to us, and that's why, like when you put up the most officers of the law, like their actions against the law itself. That's how you get cases thrown out, because they are uneducated. They're ignorant to the law. And it takes what, a lawyer to go to school for like 8 years to be an officer of the law. I think it takes 6 months. And how much of that 6 months they get actual training on the law itself? They don't get hardly nothing at all. How can you enforce the law when you don't know what the law is? That blows my mind. It's a paradox. And they don't know, and it's not their fault. It's the system. And it's actually to our benefit. Because if you find yourself in a situation, all you got to do is read the law and find out where he broke it, then you broke the chain of legality. And any evidence or anything that occurs after that break of chain of legality is voided in court. It's called exclusionary rule. But we get all that stuff later. Don't mean to rant about our legal system. This is Court Rule 3.121, which states issues of a warrant. A warrant, when issued, shall. Then it lists all the criteria of what the warrant must have. And number 6, it states that a judge and an affiant must sign the warrant. Florida Statute 28.071, clerk of court seal. This defines what a clerk of court seal must be. On every seal, it should describe substantially. Substantially is defined in this next page, which basically means clear enough to understand, clear enough to get this. It has to be enough to make something a point to get across, or it's just enough. It's a fancy word for enough. It has to be enough to read, basically, what's in the context of this statute. It has to, what's enough to read is got to have, you must be able to read the circuit court, clerk, and the name of the county in the court's seal on every document. This is the definition of substantially. This is Florida Statute 28.13, which states that every document filed in the clerk of court must have a stamp on it from the clerk of court with the date and time it was filed. The stamp is done so they can prove that it was filed in the clerk of court, especially if there's a problem with the docket or something later. You can prove that this document was filed on this date and time on the record to the court. This is Court Rule 2.520, which is identical to 28.13. If you come down here to see, it states the same thing. Every document filed in the clerk of court must have a stamp on it with the date and time that it was filed to prove that it was filed in the court. We got 2 case laws to go over real quick. This is Brown v. State, 2021. This one states that a valid arrest warrant and the record are signed by a judge, dated, and stamped with a clerk of court seal. The important thing here is the clerk of court seal. Every arrest warrant must have a clerk of court seal on it. If it don't, it's not issued. And it also goes into like when the warrant is regular on its face, and when they mean regular on its face, it means all the criteria that's in Statute 901 and Court Rule 3.121 is on the warrant, then it's regular on its face. If it's missing a criteria, to consider it not regular on its face or invalid or facially invalid. There's a couple of fancy words they use for that, but it just means it's missing criteria. And then it goes on saying that when an officer of the law executes a warrant, and if it's facially invalid, has all the criteria on the warrant, he's doing it in good faith. So, like, if I'm going to sue an officer, that's, for example, these warrants that are invalid and they're all forgeries, in 1983, which is basically like a, you can sue officers by 1983, and basically you got to prove they did it, and the acts they've done under when they were officers, which is acts under color of the law. They have to prove that they were done in bad faith or maliciously, which is you can't, because when an officer is issuing a warrant as facially valid, as all the criteria, he's doing it in good faith. So if it's missing criteria, then he's doing it in bad faith, which all these warrants have been executed in bad faith. Especially when the most of them that have been executing it are the ones that manufactured it. This is Slingbaum v. State, 1999. This one refers to a case, McNeil v. State, 1999, which states a warrant is not considered issued until the judge signs it. So the magical point from when a warrant is not issued to if it's officially become issued is when the judge signs it. That is the magical turning point of a non-issued warrant to an issued warrant. That's very important for these warrants because I think like 80% of them do not have judge signatures on them. Okay, I got a couple examples. I tried to get some examples of a real warrant from Madison County, and unfortunately, through my investigations of the clerk of court, I have not found a real warrant that has been filed to be be requested to be issued by a state attorney or an officer. Everyone I found in Madison Court, from as far as I can go back, they're fraudulent. The only real warrants I've found that have been issued by Madison County are FT warrants, failure to appear. That means you miss court date. And on these warrants, there's no affidavit signature on them because there's no one presenting evidence to the judge. The judge is witnessing the crime itself of you not showing up to court. So he just signs the warrants for FTAs. There is no affidavit signatures on FTA warrants. So I got a couple to show you real quick. This is Mr. Vincent's. You can read it. It's an FTA warrant for his... And you can see right here, it is judge signature, Mr. Douglas, Judge Douglas. But this is a stamp. You go back to the statutes in the court rule, they don't need to sign it. They can actually put an official stamp on there, which will act as a signature. And this is, let's see, the clerk of court. That means this copy came from the clerk of court. And this is the clerk of court seal with the deputy clerk signature. That's a stamp proving that who put the seal on the document. This is the proper title of a warrant come from Madison County, Capuses. The case number should be the court case number. We'll see in a minute. These all things come to play on these fraudulent warrants. All right, now this is the court docket for the Mr. Vincent's FTA warrant, and this was issued on, what the date was this issued? The 13th of May. 2024. So in Madison County, they called the documents that lay out the court case docket. It's called the case abstract offense. This is for Vincent, the same case number. And what was the date on that? I think it was the 13th of May. So if you go to the 13th of May, right here. Defendant location, Capuses issued. Every arrest warrant that's issued by a judge will have an entry on the court docket as issued Capuses, because that is the point it becomes legal. So if your docket does not say issued Capuses, that means it was never issued. It's not real. Now before that it should say like progress, active progress Capuses. That means it's in the process. The judge is reviewing the evidence. There is a request for Capuses filed. It means that there's a process. The process started to issue the warrant, but it was not officially issued yet. It is not officially issued until it says issued Capuses. All right. This is Mr. Gregory's FTA warrant. You can see right title, right court case number. The judge signature is right here. You can see this is where he actually signed it. This clerk of court seal. The clerk of court stamp, that the deputy clerk signs it, who put the seal on the document. This is the return of service of the officer, that Mr. Davis, who executed the warrant, and he fills this out and returns it to the clerk of court so they can make the warrant invalid no more. Because once a warrant has been executed, it can only every warrant can only be executed one time. So once it's executed, it's got to be taken off the court record as an issued warrant. So if you don't get, like for example, they release you an hour, you don't get pulled over on the way home and get arrested again. So those are two examples of where the judge signatures need to be. Now, I don't have one for the affidavit signature because I don't find one from Madison County that has an affidavit signature on it yet. I don't believe there is one. I think these crimes have been going on for decades, and I have proof at least 11 years. The time span of these 10 warrants are 11-year periods. We're not talking about one or two cops. We're talking about multiple sheriffs' terms. We're talking about multiple clerk of court terms. We're talking about this crime's been going on for a very long time. Madison County is the richest county or the richest city in the whole Confederacy because of the cotton gin. I think the sins from Madison County have been carrying with them for a very long time. But that's just my personal take on the situation. They are literally now one of the poorest counties in Florida, one of the least populated counties in Florida. For example, like their county jail, there's only 30 people in it. The clerk of court, there's maybe 4 or 5 people that work there. And there is no question what I'm doing requesting public records from this county. They know I am building evidence of their crimes. And that will come into play here in a couple of minutes. All right, this is my personal warrant that I was a victim of. My name is Doug Madison. Now these, if you notice the layout of this warrant is completely different than those other warrants. You notice that? That's the first problem. Arrest warrant, the title of the document. Madison County does not issue arrest warrants. They issue capices. So this is the incorrect title. Madison County arrest warrants, case number is the case number for the court case. If you look here, this ain't a court case number. This is a Madison County Sheriff's Office report number for my crimes, alleged crimes. It's the wrong case number. It should have my court case number, not the report case, the report number from the Sheriff's Office on it. These forgeries are not good forgeries. They're terrible forgeries. They've been getting away when criminals get away with crime. Longer they get away with crime, more sloppier they get. So for them to commit forgery at this level, this sloppy, that means they've been getting away with this for decades. I got at least 1 decade proof already. And I haven't really spent that much time on the court because I've been dealing with FDLE and FBI and Department of Justice and all sorts of people. And I've been so busy dealing with that, I haven't had time to do a lot of investigation really. All right, this is a certified copy from the clerk of court. Now, how did I get a copy of a fraudulent warrant from the clerk of court? That is another question Mr. Washington and Courtney, whatever her name is going to have to explain during depositions. This is my second page of my warrant. Now, I'll show you in a second. I'll prove that my warrant's fraudulent, which my warrant's fraudulent. That means this is a forged judge signature. That is a separate act of forgery than the act of forgery of the document. Okay? If you notice, remember the criteria? No clerk of court seal. There is no clerk of court seal on this document. There is no clerk of court stamp on this document either that has the time and date. This is only a certified copy stamp. There is no clerk of court stamp on this document with the date and time it was filed in clerk of court, because it was never filed in clerk of court, because it was never issued by a judge, because it was manufactured by Madison County Sheriff's Office, and it's a fake, fraudulent, forgery arrest warrant. Oh, here's my, I got a letter from the clerk of court too, says, you do not have a warrant issued. Well, then how did I get this warrant from you, saying that it's a true copy, but I won't have a warrant issued? There's a lot of shadiness going on. And I can show you on the clerk of court website how they're playing this game of fraud, which the clerk of court's involved with too. They are hiding these warrants under the report, saying that a push report. If you look under the thing where it says push report, that's where they're providing these warrants. They're not providing them as warrants themselves. They're hiding them under push reports. So if you needed to obtain them, or they got a lot of effort in their little system, which is illegal as fuck. And I'm having a hard time FDLE enforcing the law of the state. Believe that? I mean, we're not talking about 1 or 2 officers. We're talking about a whole county that's committing organized crime. And I'm having FDLE giving me a hard time about it. Welcome to Florida. Welcome to America, I should say. Florida, if one understands, is one of the worst. I can't see it get much worse. If it gets much worse than Florida, it's time for us to get our guns and do our obligation to, the independence, the Declaration of Independence document, and restart our government. I'm serious. It's getting to that point. Hopefully this is just a Madison County issue, which I'm afraid is bigger than. So this is my arrest warrant, or my court, my case abstract document, which is my case, my court case docket for my case, which will prove the warrant is fraudulent. My warrant was issued on the 9th, June 9th. We go to the court case docket on June 9th. There is no issue capicis. Remember the other one where I showed you where it should say issue capicis? There is no progress capicis. There is nothing on here about anything about a capicis, because there was no warrant. There was no due process of the court to issue a warrant. Because a judge can still deny a warrant even if they filed the request for a warrant. Just because the request for the warrant is filed doesn't mean it's issued. A judge has got to go through the process of reviewing the evidence and determining probable cause and signing the warrant to make a warrant issued. That's why an entry of issued capicis must be on your court docket, because it ain't considered a real warrant until the judge signs it. And that's when it comes issued. And that entry must be on your case docket, which it isn't. Which my warrant is 100% a forgery, fraud, false imprisonment. There's a lot of crimes being committed by when they executed this warrant. This is Mr. Kendrick. Mr. Kendrick, if you see, he's got a letter too. I don't see any warrants issued in Madison County in 2022, 2023. This is Mr. Kendrick's arrest warrant. Got the same problems I got. Wrong title. Should be capsus, not arrest warrant. Here, I think it was a Joust. Yeah, Mark Joust. He's a wonderful citizen working for the... he already got fired for trying to kill his son-in-law. His son, there's a court case that his son-in-law found the phone and he was talking on his text message about killing his son-in-law because the guy's black and it's a white family. And so they didn't just fire him, they just demoted him, and he ended up working for the police department now instead of the sheriff's office. That was his and he's like semi-retired, and I heard they took like half. It's a bunch of BS, okay? And this guy's still committing crime. And if you can see that this don't even say it's a court case number, which it should be the court case number. This is the Madison Police Department case number, which is the police department. This is the actual report number for the alleged crimes for Mr. Kendrick. Let's see what the date was filed. It wasn't filed on the 6th. Okay. The second page is identical mine. No court seal. No affidavit signature. No judge's signature. Oh, he does have a judge's signature, which is a forgery, which is a separate criminal act of forgery. No court seal, no court date and timestamp on it. Now this is Kendrick's case abstract document. You see the case number, everything. Well, that's the case number that should be on the warrant, but isn't. Now if we go to his date. His date was on the 6th. Yeah, the 6th of September 2022. We go to 6th of September 2022. 2 entries. No progress capuses. Definitely no issue to capuses. So his warrant is as fraudulent and as fake as mine. So all you need for racketeering is 2 crimes and 5 years for state racketeering charges, and for federal you need 2 crimes and 10 years from an organization that does legal business and does the legal business at the same time, and it has to be 2 related crimes. And right there is the evidence, is all we need for racketeering. But don't worry, I got much more to add to it. This is Mr. Markevius, which states that we do not show a warrant in Madison County. Another letter from corporate court saying that he don't have a warrant issued. But yet Mr. Markevius was arrested on a warrant. Right title, right case number. At least they got the real case number on this one, right? Over here we got the court seal, the court stamp with the deputy clerk signs it, who stamped the seal on the document. We got the return of service. Remember that warrant where I was showing you that where the signatures are? It's missing. Here, I'll show you. I'll put it up next side by side for example. When they printed these warrants out, it took the spot for the judge. See? It's missing the spot for the judge. So when they printed these out on Photoshop, that's what they did. I guess it's a requirement on your computer and your sheriff's car and your police department car to have Adobe Photoshop as part of your applications. So when you print fraudulent warrants, you can make the correct decisions on what to take off the document so it doesn't make it obvious that you're committing fraud and forgery. I'm serious. So when they printed this out, they just took the whole judge's places out of there. And I don't even know where they normally put a affidavit signature, because I can't find a warrant that has an affidavit signature from Madison County. But we'll go into that later. So this warrant has a court seal, the court stamp, with the deputy clerk that signs it. No judge's signature, which is usually like right here. No affidavit signature. No court file stamp with the date and time on it. And his date is on, what the date it was? This was on 7/28. All right, this is Mr. Markevius. Well, I'm going to give you a little story here. Now, I started getting public records in my name. I thought, public records. They ain't gonna mess up, give me fraudulent documents. So I should have known better. I knew what was going on in this county, but they know what I'm doing. You think it would be like, all right, this guy has already got enough evidence to prove that we're racketeering. Maybe we should like tighten up the ship and not commit fraud until like this is like done, or he gives up, or whatever the situation is. No, they keep on committing more and more fraud, keep on committing more and more crime, and providing evidence of it. For example, I put a public record name in my name, my full name, which they are clearly, everybody in the whole Madison County, which is a very small county, knows Doug Madison, and he's collecting evidence through public records. And there's only like 4 or 5 people who work in the clerk of court. They know my name when I call the clerk of court through caller ID. Like, they literally know my voice. Like, there is no question what I'm doing my business when I'm calling them. I'm collecting evidence for their crimes, and they are fully aware of this. So when I got this public record in the mail, the docket was missing. Everything else printed out fine, normal. But the part that I need in this document to commit that Mr. Markevius warrant is fraudulent is missing. But yet, if you look, the title of the document's on there, the footer printed out, the page number, the date and time. That proves that there isn't a printer error. That proves this is done maliciously. They have schemed to deny me public records, which is a violation of Florida's constitutional right, Article 1, Section 24, public records. It violates Florida Statute 119, which is access to public records. There's a lot of things that, and they're providing me the evidence. They should have just left the last 2 pages blank, then I couldn't prove that they did not need the records. But they gave me blank documents with the header and the footer printed out. That proves that this document was tampered with. When I called the clerk of court, and I'm a polite guy, I called them. I said there might be a printer error when I got this record, and the deputy clerk says no, that record is blank. We don't have the record for that. And I said, oh, let me tell you something. I might not be the smartest guy in the world, but I'm definitely not the stupidest. I know the clerk of court has redundant systems to save these court dockets. It's so essential for these court dockets for like appeals and other stuff that's going on later in court that it has to be documented. This case docket is on the record. I don't care. Let me speak to the clerk of court, the officer, the guy that actually got elected in the office for the clerk of court. His name is Billy Washington. He's head of the clerk of court. He's the clerk of court. When I got him on the phone, I record all my phone calls with the government. I got an app on my phone that does this. And when you record phone calls in the government, you don't have to tell them because they are in the public domain. Just like you can't, when you record people on the park or in a school, you don't got to tell them they're being recorded because in the public domain, you have an awareness that you already might be being recorded. That's why like when you call your bank, it's private. They got to tell you they're recording you. There's a difference in privacy laws from public domain and private domain. And because they are public officers and they're working in the public domain, you do not need to tell them you're recording them. That's a little tip. So I record all my phone calls. But this time I thought it'd be nice to let them aware of it before I told them. So I told Billy Washington, I'm recording the phone call. And then I went into my spiel, what happened, before I had a chance for him to hang up the phone or tell me they couldn't talk to me. Because usually that's what government tells you when you tell them they're recording you. Which I don't know why they're not doing nothing shady. You should have no problem being recorded, but that's a whole nother subject. So I tell him what went on, what the deputy clerk just told me how the record is missing. And I said, I'm recording you. What's going on, Billy? I know it's bullshit. What do you have to say about it? Give me 30 seconds. He gets off the phone. 30 seconds later, he found the document complete. Imagine that. And this is the document I got when Billy Washington sent it to me. And I have almost absolute proof that this document has been tampered with. This is a fraudulent document. For example, let's get back to Markevius. Markevius is on the 28th of July. On the 28th of July, it says there's an issue capacis. But if you look at it, lower in the it says, how can it be issued before the act of progress capacis goes into it? And then it don't even say anything about a deposition capacis. A deposition, oh yeah, the deposition is on 9/5. You know what the deposition capacis means? That's when the affidavit presents the evidence to the judge. So the warrant in this case was issued, a week before the affiant provided the evidence to a judge? I'm serious. Look at the dates here. The deposition is when the affiant presents the evidence to the judge. Okay, that's the act. That means it's in the act of progress means it's the warrant is in. The warrant is in progress of being determined if there's probable cause. Up here is active progress capital. It's usually when they file the request document, the request for the warrant, or in Madison County, request for capicis into court for the judge to review, and then he can present the evidence to the judge. That's what the deposition is. This don't make sense. A warrant can't be issued. Then later, the request for the warrant to be issued, and then a week later is when the affiant testified in front of the judge that the crime occurred. These people are terrible at committing crime. Like seriously, this is a tampered document. And if it wasn't a tampered document, why did they scheme to deny me that document before they provided me this document? You know what I'm saying? You can see a clear pattern of motivation, a motive, of an intent, of they're trying to cover up their crimes by committing more crime, and all that does is just make a bigger mess. But I don't think they know how to do it right. I'll be honest with you. I think Madison County has been playing by their own rules for so long. They don't know what the law is. They don't know how to. They're the ways they handle business is so illegal. It's so inscribed in their processes. They don't know how to, like, every act they do is against the law, or every couple acts is going to violate the law. They don't have control of what the law is in all their actions, because they've never done it right. It's out of control. This county is a hillbilly motherfucking county in North Florida. It's all country. There's some hillbilly ass shit going on in Madison County. Let me tell you that. All right. Now let's. What's this? This is Kwanzan's. Where's Kwanzan's? This is Kwanzan's warrant. I don't know what warrant number around, like 4 or 5. The rest of them will go real quick. I'm getting a couple of I don't have cases that I don't need them. All right, Kwanzan got proper title, proper case number, clerk of court seal, clerk of court stamp with the deputy signature on it. No judge's signature, no affiant signature, and no clerk of court seal. Clerk of court stamp with the day and time on it. You start seeing patterns of these warrants. They're all missing the same criteria, but they're not related. They're all accidents, right? This is Kwanzan's case abstract document, and let's see, what's the date on here? June 15th. Okay, so this is Kwanzan's proper case number and all that stuff. We go to the 15th. We got active. So this says that his warrant was filed with the court on the 15th. The information was filed. That means the state attorney filed charges. It says active process capicis depositions. That means the affiant provided the evidence to the judge, but there's no issued capicis. That means the judge never signed it. Well, obviously he never signed because there's no signature on it. That means it was never issued by court. So all that issued the document being provided to the judge and shit, that's all a bunch of bullshit, because if the judge has not issued it, that means that warrant is a forgery. That warrant is not real. That warrant is an act of fraud. It's another crime of racketeering. I think it was executed by the sheriff's office. Yeah. What's the name of the officer on this one? Oh, this is Newman, I believe. Another fine sheriff's officer that's organized crime affiliate, protecting the laws of citizens and victimizing them at the same time. That's Madison County Sheriff's Office and Madison County Police Department. They are a dual role. They commit crime and enforce the laws of Florida. All right, we go to this warrant. Goes back to 2012. So the time spans of these warrants are from 2012 to 2023. So that is 11 years period. We're not talking, that's multiple sheriffs, like their office terms. That's multiple clerk of court office terms. That is multiple judges' office terms. This is talking about, this is not just like one or two bad people. This is a system that is designed to commit crime. This is a system that it needs to be changed. It's out of control. Imagine just getting pulled over, your son or daughter or you get arrested on a warrant that was not issued by a judge. How would that make you feel? Especially some of these, my cases, they're trying to send me to jail for 45 years. I didn't even kill nobody. That means I would have been 89 when I got out of jail. How would it make you feel that you're facing the rest of your life to go to prison for fraud that the sheriff's office committed? Just let that sink in. How would that make you feel? And you don't tell me these crimes don't need to stop? The way I look at it, it needs to stop if we got to take out the Declaration of Independence and stop it ourselves, which is our obligation as American citizens. But we won't go on that rant, because then I will consider to be a terrorist. Fuck them. The terrorists making other people terrorists. All right, here we go. This is the this don't even have a title on it, I guess. This is a pretty old warrant. Okay. Usually they have a title like warrant or capicis, but generally in Madison County they issue capicis. Now this one has a clerk of court seal and the stamp from the clerk of court. The deputy clerk put the seal on it. This is the return of service. No judge signature, no affidavit signature. Now this one does have a clerk of court file stamp. Now it's hard to read it, but if you can see, there's a date and there's a time. That means this proves that this was filed with the clerk of court. Now by who? It wasn't filed by the judge. It wasn't signed by the judge. So there's a lot of conflicting stuff going on in these warrants. This is the case abstract document for this case. Okay. So we go to it. We look at the date it was issued. What was the date on? 9/28. We go to 9/28. The information filed, which I would assume would be that's the request for the warrant to be issued by the affidavit. The information filed is when the state filed charges, which I don't know why the state would file charges before the warrant is even issued. But there's no issued capicis on here. Capicis served, that means they executed it. But there is, on the 28th, there is no issued capicis. That means that warrant is fraudulent. And you start seeing a pattern here of a long time period. I think they've been doing this since day one and no one's called them out on it. Besides me, I'm the first. And I think they're freaking out. They're just praying to Baal or Moloch, whoever demon they pray to, that I don't be successful in getting the law enforcement to enforcing the crimes of this, which I don't care. I will die before I stop. Like, they're going to have to arrest me and charge me with terrorism before I stop this crusade of justice. Because it's righteous. I am right. They are wrong. And I'm not just right. The enforcement that refuses to enforce these laws are wrong. The government that has acquiescence, which means acquiescence means if you don't say no, you're saying yes. So by anybody not acting against this county is saying it's okay what this county is doing. So acquiescence is not acceptable. This is Gregory. He's got 6 warrants, Mr. Gregory does. This is number 2. Clerk of court seal, clerk of court stamp with his deputy signature on it. This is the clerk of court, deputy clerk of the certified copy. That means we got it from the clerk of court, which I don't know how we get fraudulent documents from the clerk of court, but this has obtained from them. Now this is, it's just missing, it's missing the seal. And it's got the seal. It's missing the stamp with the date and time on it. It's missing the affidavit signatures. That means it's not, if it's missing a judge signature, it's not issued. We don't need a docket to prove that 80% of these warrants are not issued. They can prove they're not issued just missing the judge signature. Again, there's another one. Seal. Proper title, proper case number. No affidavit signature, no judge's signature, and no clerk of court stamp with the date and time on it. But this one does have an official Madison County Sheriff's Office stamp. that they received it. Who did they receive it from? Because they didn't receive it from a judge. There's a lot of attempts in this county to make things look legit when they're really not, which it just proves that they're malicious motives. And like, they've got a lot of explaining. The Sheriff Harper's got a lot of explaining to do. Billy Washington has a lot of explaining to do. These deputy clerks who signed that they stamped these warrants have a lot of explaining to do in deposition. I can't wait to get in deposition. I just can't wait, because you know how criminals are. Everybody's on the same team until the boat starts sinking. Then they all start pointing the finger. I can't wait for that game to start. And I'm going to be filing probably about next month. If I got to do it myself, I will file. I'll file state and federal civil on these guys. So this is warrant number 3. Everything's the same. I mean, these warrants are all identical. All the criteria missing is identical. They're all, like, you can see when they print them out, and there's the place for the judge signature right here, where it says judge and the signature on it. It's erased. You think the judge did that when he printed this warrant out? No, because these warrants are fraudulent. The officer who made these fraudulent warrants said, well, I should probably take out the spot where the judge signs, since I'm not putting a judge signature on it. So Adobe Photoshop in their car during duty, they just did a couple corrections on another warrant or whatever template they got of what warrants they're going to use that day, and then take out the judge signature spot, and so people don't notice that, because obviously with this blank spot, people are going to notice that. So this is all acts of forgery and fraud. Literally, they are literally using Adobe Photoshop to commit these crimes. Same thing. They're all the same. Court sealed. No judge signature. No affidavit signature. No court stamp with a date and time filed in court. But it does have a Madison County received stamp on it, because Madison County wants to cover their ass and say, we got it from somebody. We didn't get it from a judge. Some Santa Claus brought it over to us, a whole pack of warrants, and we've been just executing them. Literally. I can't wait what their explanation is going to be. Here's another warrant. I think this is number 6. And this is another warrant for Mr. Gregory, poor guy. He's actually got more warrants than this, but I'm not going to present those at this moment. Receive stamp from, make it look like they got it from somewhere, which they're the ones manufacturing these warrants, fraudulent. Court seal, no judge signature, no affidavit signature, no stamp with the time and date it was filed in the court. And that is the 10 warrants that I'm presenting today of Madison County, Florida, that the Sheriff's Office of Madison County and the Police Department of the City of Madison are committing crimes of forgery, fraud, racketeering, false imprisonment. And I have a feeling, guys, this is just a scratch of the crimes that they're committing in this county. I hear information like trafficking, drugs, but I don't got proof of those things. So, but let's just say criminals get really complacent on crimes that they commit. So if you're committing big, major crimes, little crimes are not as quite as important. So you're not going to focus on covering your ass on those crimes. So them, for being this sloppy in forgery and this arrogant, that means they've been committing these crimes for a long time. And it also gives evidence, possibly, like, that they are committing worse crimes than this. But I'm sure that iceberg will melt, and those will be exposed in time and long enough. But everybody, you all have a good day. Check all your documents when you go to court. If I didn't check my documents right now, I'd be serving a 45-year bit. You all have a great day. God bless you. Be safe, and justice be with you all.